Welcome back to 12 Days of Christmas with Arubakes. Today we are making some chocolate truffles. We're doing two varieties. One is a plain chocolate truffle and one is with pistachio. These are the perfect things to serve right at the end of your dinner party when everyone's had a really hearty meal. And then you serve them up some beautiful dessert, finish off with either a hot chocolate or a coffee, and then bring these out. And I promise you, your guests will be floored. Yes, they will be full and they will be struggling to eat at this point, but no one can resist having one of these. Start off by chopping up some dark cooking chocolate. The finer you chop this, the faster it melts into that cream. So give this a rough chop, but make sure that it's quite small pieces. If you can use some dark chocolate chips, even that works fine for this. There's something that's just so indulgent about chocolate truffles. It's so easy to make, but it brings in kind of this almost a bougie feel when you're eating them. It's the same as those variety boxes, the ones that have the little nuts, the ones with the different fillings. I love those. There's just this excitement that comes along with that when you select what you want and then you pick it and yum. Once you're done chopping that, then just put this into a bowl. Use a heat-proof bowl so that we can pour the warm cream straight into this. The best thing about these chocolate truffles is that you can make this way in advance. So it's one less thing for you to worry about on the day that you're hosting. You can stick this in the fridge and then just forget about it until you're ready to serve this up. Post dinner, post dessert, post hot chocolate and coffee. Then you bring these out and oh my gosh, it will go down an absolute treat, I promise you. So now that our chocolate is ready, let's get our cream heating. To heat the cream, get yourself a fairly big saucepan. To this, we're going in with our cream. Just scrape up all of the cream from your jug so that you don't waste any of this goodness. And to this, we're going in with the butter. Room temperature butter, just so that it melts easier as the cream warms through. And then just heat this up. Heat this up over very low heat just to bring this cream and the butter up to temperature, just so that it's warm enough to melt the chocolate. You don't want to boil this cream because it will scorch and kind of burn a little bit. So just very gently heat it up just until it's warm enough. Just give it a touch. Yeah, that feels warm enough to me. Kill the heat. When your cream is warm enough, pour about maybe half of it just over the chocolate like this. And then just let the chocolate sit in that warm cream to just melt into it. I'm going to hit this with a little pinch of salt at this point, just to bring out that chocolatiness. I always go in with just a touch of salt when I'm doing sweet things, just because it enhances all of the flavors. Yum. The chocolate has been sitting in the warm cream now for a few minutes. Look at that. That's already looking so luscious and nice. Just mix it through just to melt any bits of chocolate that hasn't yet melted. Now at this point, if you find that your cream has completely cooled down or your chocolate chunks were a little too big so it's not melting the way you would like it to, you can heat up the rest of the cream just a little bit more before adding it in, but I think this should be fine. This is why it's important to cut the chocolate as small as possible so that it just melts faster. Once most of your chocolate has melted into this cream, then we'll add in the rest of the cream. Just pour that in and then just stir that in. The cream I'm using today is a whipping cream. You can use whipping or double cream, that's fine, because we aren't going to whip this up. We just need that richness that the cream brings in. So just mix it through until everything's melted and completely mixed through. Look at how beautifully glossy, silky, and smooth that is right now. Oh, yum. So the reason that we always heat the cream separately and pour this into the chocolate rather than just popping the chocolate into the saucepan with the cream is that if you heat it too much, the chocolate has a chance of splitting. What that means is that the fat splits from the rest of the chocolate or something along those lines. Anyway, and we don't want that. We want that silky smooth texture in your mouth as you're eating these chocolate truffles. So to avoid the chocolate splitting and becoming all gritty is why we heat the cream and then pour it into the chocolate. This is now ready. What you can do is you can actually just pop this in the fridge as it is, just for it to chill and set. But I am going to pour it into 2 shallower bowls just so that it's a thinner layer and it sets faster, so I can roll these into those truffles faster. Oh, yum. It's always important to use a really good quality dark chocolate when you're making truffles, because that sets you up, because there's not much else going on here. There are certain things that you can use generic brand ingredients for, but something like this where the ingredient stands out, you have to use a good quality chocolate. So a good quality chocolate and a good quality cocoa powder is what will make your truffle, because there's not much else going on. It's just the chocolate, the cream, a little bit of butter, and then the cocoa powder that you're rolling this in. One last thing to do before we pop this in the oven is to just cover it with some cling film. Always make sure that the cling film is touching the chocolate so that a skin doesn't form due to it being exposed to the air. It's the same thing when you're doing custards, ganaches, and things like that. You just want to create a barrier between the top of the chocolate and the air, and then just pop this in pop this in the fridge to chill and set for a couple of hours. While your chocolate is sitting in the fridge, chop up some pistachio. So we're going to do half that's just normal truffles coated in cocoa powder, and half I want to do a pistachio crusted truffle. So chop this up fairly finely, because you want little pieces of pistachio that you bite into as you bite into that truffle, but you don't want like big pieces of pistachio running through it. Pop the chopped pistachio into a dish and set that aside. And into another bowl, go in with some good quality cocoa powder. So it's maybe about 50 grams or so, just to coat the truffles in. Ooh, okay. So that seems to be nice and solid now. So we can start rolling these out. Peel off the cling film. Get rid of jewelry. Alright. So use 2 spoons just to scoop out a tiny piece. So actually 1 spoon is enough. Right? And then just form it into a ball using the palm of your hand. And then just roll it in that cocoa powder. Beautiful. And that is how you make a chocolate truffle. It's so easy, you guys. So this one's now starting to melt a little bit, so it's difficult to roll. So I'm going to pop this back in the fridge and grab the other bowl. That's the other advantage of doing 2 bowls. So just peel the cling film off like that. Beautiful. So take a good spoonful of chocolate. At this point, you have to work fast because this is gonna melt otherwise. And that's it. I think I'm gonna have one of the pistachio ones. Look at these. Oh, they're beautiful. So silky smooth in your mouth. And then that crunch and the bite you get with the pistachios. Yum. These decadent chocolate truffles is the perfect sweet ending, not only to your dinner party, but also to our mini series, Christmas with Arubakes. I hope I've inspired you to make some of these recipes this festive season. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas and a great New Year. See you in 2026. Bye!